They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not worry them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning we will remember them. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to FGM eCast for the ANZAC special here at Talladega Super Speedway here in Alabama. The event that we have every year, of course. Technically not on ANZAC Day, but because we don't run on a Sunday, we run it here for the Super Speedway. Joining me up in the booth tonight is Mr. Dave Douglas. How you going, Dave?
G'day, Carl. G'day, everyone. Big Daddy here tonight. Big open straights and long corners. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting one. We've got a few things to go through quickly before we start. Really, obviously, the first big thing is we've had quite a few rule changes. So there have been quite a few little tweaks to the rules since we last run. That being that we are now down to 30 cars for the event. So only 30 cars running. Now 20 of those cars are locked in every week, and that will be put up on the ANZCAR page itself. And those drivers are locked in not by points, but by incident count. So as long as you don't have many incident points, you'll be locked into the 20 positions and able to go race. The other 10 positions are all done by speed and qualifying. So it has changed things around quite a bit tonight. We've seen a few big names unable to race. Quite a few fast people that we'd normally expect to see doing well here, unable to come out.
Yeah, definitely a couple of surprises there. But also tonight is our ANZAC special round. So I know we've got something lined up here very soon. So, anticipation for that one.
Yeah, we'll keep an ear out and get ready for that one. As usual, we have our moment of silence before the start of this race. So the cars will pull into pit lane as they do that, and you'll see quite a few people running some very beautiful ANZAC inspired liveries. And we will start a minute of silence.
Pretty special moment there.
Yeah, and as always, we thank everybody who is currently serving, who has served, and who is thinking of serving for their country. It is always a big decision to make, and we appreciate all of the things you do for us. So, Dave, getting ready here tonight. Just quickly, just as they start to line up as well, there's been a slight change to the Super Speedway packages, hasn't there?
Absolutely. Nothing like it was when we came here in February for the Daytona 500. Well, not here in particular, but the same package. So it's definitely a different package. The car's going to work a lot differently this time. So it's going to be interesting to see how the guys adapt. It is a new skill to learn. You basically got to relearn it. But I'm excited to get it going. I've got my future teammate, Ruben Felt, starting off the pole, so I'm pumped for him.
Yeah, brilliant pole position there for Ruben Phelps. Really fast driving out there tonight. So let's run through the starting order. So on the front row of the grid, we have Ruben Phelps and Brian Richmond. Row 2, we have Reese May with Michael Skurlock. Row 3, we have Josh Micklemore, Scott Griffiths. Row 5 is Adam Rosell, Luke Traher. Row 6, we have Lachlan Urquio, Mirko Jordanak. Row 7 is Riley Curtis, Damon Stockton. Row 8 is Greg Spencer, Raymond Yeager. Row 9 is Stephen Williams, Tristan Koch. Row 10 is Pearson and Gallagher. Row 11, we have Dyson and Witcher. Row 12 is Martin and Worley. 13, we have Raymond and Parry Anastakis. 15, we have Ryan Jones with Joshua Carroll Walden. 16th is Danny G with Phil Otto. And at the back to last row of grid and final places is Matt Hunter and Edward Foster. There's a little bit of confusion up here in the box actually because we called a couple of wrong things. We worked our numbers out a little bit wrong. A few drivers have actually made it through that we didn't think made it through, but it's nice to see them in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always going to be a bit of confusion for this first time with the new rules that ANZCAR's brought in just to try and make the racing better, and it'll only sort of make more sense as the rounds go on. But yeah, getting pretty excited for this one. A lot of tribute liveries out there for Anzac Day, so it's going to be a bit harder to pick the cars, but we'll do our best, no doubt.
Yeah, Ruben Phelps in the Mark 1 eSport car managing to get one of those beautiful Anzac livery-inspired cars on the pole position today as well, so great job from him to get it up there in the front row spot. And you can see as well, I think it's Reese May just behind him as well. Very nice livery on that car as well. So some really good liveries out there tonight, honouring all of the people that serve, which is always what we like to do. Talladega is always a tricky one. It's always 1 second away from the big one, of course, and you never know when that can happen. Hopefully we won't see it tonight. That's what we've got to hope for. But the pace car, the lights are off, and it will be coming into pit lane very shortly. But we have a bit of a way to the start-finish line here at Talladega.
Yeah, it's a long way down along that past the front kink there, so it's a long way down to the start-finish line, so you can get a good draft. So hopefully we get a good race to the end of the flag here.
That's it, and that's what we are all waiting for. So those cars are going to bunch up, get ready to go for this round 10 of the ANZCAR Cup Series. And it is green and go, go, go for Ruben Phelps in the lead. He gets a relatively good start. Brian Richmond gets off a better at the top of the line. Will he be able to keep that and slot it in front of Ruben Phelps? That's going to be the big question. Leading is not always the best thing here, though. Out in the lead, of course, you are going to use a little bit more fuel. Ruben Phelps does manage to get ahead down on that lower line.
Yeah, you'll see early in this race, I think a lot of the guys will probably try to get down to that lower line as quick as they can. The top line doesn't work as good, especially not when it's broken up like it is right now. It can work, but yeah, it takes a lot of work to get it to work. But right now, Ruben Phelps doing all he needs to do and holds on to the lead.
Yeah, really good job there, and being on that lower line has sort of helped a little bit, of course. These cars have changed a little bit since we were last here on a super speedway and last here at Talladega, indeed. And they do get a little bit, well, they do get a lot.
Oh, he saves it. Through the tribal. Who was that? That was a black car. We'll see if we can get a replay of that. That was a massive stage. Brian Richmond. It was the 47 of Brian Richmond. Nearly got turned in front of the field. They're full wide back there, just trying to organise the pack out. There's a lot of DPR cars back. I can see a Cranky Esports car. So they're 3 wide back there. But Brian Richmond, massive moment on the try over there. He just got way sideways. Somehow caught it and got it going. And we continue on.
Very lucky there indeed. Yeah, it looked like one of the DPR cars he just got caught up with, and that was almost a huge one. It was Damon Stockton who got caught up with that one, and always drivers, great job getting out of the way for that one, but that has broken the pack up quite a bit. We've now got a pack that has a huge gap between it, from Damon Stockton in 10th down to Greg Spencer in 11th. Those cars have really broken up. And then it goes all the way down to 12th and 12th place. And again, there's another huge gap between those guys. So we've got some we've got quite a couple of different packs now worked out from that very sketchy moment, but very well saved.
Yeah, if the front pack doesn't sort of organise themselves, the other guys should be able to catch that back up. But yeah, I found that with this new package, you do get a lot of individual packs. So you'll have a bunch of cars here, have a bunch of cars there. Once they get the green flag stops, if we get to that point, it'll separate them even more. So we've got the 550 here of Koch just making a move on the outside of the 47, just trying to make something, well, just trying something out here at the moment. So he jumps out of line, and DPR behind jumps with him. Now there's a few others jumping up there just to see if they can try something, I guess. And I guess now's the time to just try and see what you got, and then get yourself ready for a long race here.
Yeah, just look a little bit further back behind him. Foster was on an absolute flyer there for a moment. He's just caught up to the back of the DPR car of Andrew Dyson. The fast driving Andrew Dyson taking out his second truck victory this week at where were we? Can't remember. Richmond, that's right. At Richmond, two truck races entered for him, and two truck races won. So he's definitely one of those drivers that's trying to make a name for himself, especially on the oval courses. We know he's quick on the circuits, but on the ovals, he's been doing a lot of improving. Meanwhile, that gap is remaining kind of steady at the moment between the front pack and that secondary pack. They've just got to start working together now and really get themselves linked up and not push too hard too early in this race. It's going to be a long one. We've still got 85 laps remaining. Of course, a 90-lap race here at Talladega, and these aren't short laps either.
No, definitely not. They're about a 49, 50-second lap time. But another car I'm surprised to see in there is the 111 of Jones. Actually, I caught it earlier in the before the broadcast. I didn't think he made it in, but yeah, obviously we got our calculations incorrect in the booth. Obviously, definitely unofficial in the booth. That's just a guess. But he's in there, so that'll keep him quiet for at least another hour.
keep him quiet out of a booth. That's what we like with Ryan James. It's fun to hear Ryan having a bit of a chat on the Locked On Lads podcast that was on, I think it was yesterday. Interesting to hear him have a chat and talk about how his commentary career started. A bit like you, Dave, getting locked up in the booth for naughty behaviour.
Yeah, that's it, mate. But yeah, I'll be back out there in the next couple of weeks. So
of course, that is the special ANZCAR punishment for anyone misbehaving, is you get locked in a booth with me for a couple of hours, and nobody will forget that.
Yeah, but at least I enjoy it, so I don't think it's punishment at all. But it's not really punishment at all. We're just making a bit of a joke of it. But yeah, I actually enjoy coming up here. If I'm not racing, this is the next place I want to be. So it's been good.
It's been good having you as well. Foster just getting very loose at the back, actually.
Yeah,
he just had a big moment.
Jumped out of line there real quick, so they must have checked up a bit there and, get up there and, rip the steering wheel. Nearly got up in the defence there, but I think he knows what he's doing there, so he's jumped back down in line there. But, mate, Ruben Phelps with that.
Adam Rizal has had a bit of a moment up at the front, and I think he's just... Yeah, he's just got right to the back of... He just actually caught the back of the number 5 there of Scott Griffiths, and that's meant he's lifted off, and that's broken up that pack a bit.
Yeah, those guys will have to sort that out. Now, there is a side draft now on these cars, so there was a small one before, but massive effect now. So you can actually drive up to the left rear quarter of the car in front of you and actually slow him down and pull him back towards you, and vice versa. If he goes around the outside, you can get your right front on his left rear quarter and pull him back. So there's a big side draft effect in this new package now, which is cool because it's very realistic, I guess, and that's what they sort of backed it on with the feedback from real drivers. Yeah,
and this has meant that second pack being led by, I believe it's Michael Scull, actually up in the lead of that secondary pack at the moment, down in 6th position, is now catching on to the back of this group of cars. So there's a less than a second.
Early droppers. Oh no, something must happen. Some guys have started the pit. So I can see the damage on the back of the 62. So I'm just going to go back and see what happened there. Something's going on.
Oh. Yeah. Merca getting caught actually.
It was one of the 029 of Greg Spencer getting loose. So one of the Barley cars, he got loose on the. Oh, his teammate got into his left rear. That's where you don't want to push. So you can push these cars. You can push on the right rear, but on the left rear, it just turns them loose. So the right rear, if you're going to push on the side, right rear is where you want to do it.
Yeah, and that's made a big mess down from about 14th down behind Matty Raymond at the moment. There are cars everywhere. They are running free Free wide at the moment through the through turns, I think one turns 3 and 4, no, turns 1 and 2 just there. They are 3 abreast there. No, it was 3 and 4, sorry. They 3 abreast there, so 3 wide running there. Big, quite a big pack of the Michael Shaw Racing cars up there with Justin Witcher, Greg Spence, and Raymond Yeager there. So those guys have got a good little pack for their team going on there. All 3 cars are in a line, and that's something else we've got to watch out for tonight as well, is teamwork.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to take a team to win it, unless there's not enough at the front at the time. But if you can get sorted out with some teammates, you can definitely go a lot further in this race than guys that don't have teammates near them. So, as I said, this field's starting to spread out now with there's a few little incidents, just enough to spread the cars out. But as I said, we get a lot more green running now than yellow with this package I've found.
Yeah, that's it, and this is what the changes were all about as well, to try and make sure we get much more green flags than yellow flags, which is always what we want to see and what viewers want to see as well. We want to see this hard racing, as we've got some of that a little bit further back, as Skurlock has caught right up to the back of Adam Rosell at the moment. So back grid with Skurlock, Trahir, Urquio, Curtis and Stockton have caught right up, so that's given the top 10. Top 10 are all pretty much running within a second of each other right now.
Yeah, Ruben's still out the front there in the 06, my guy, running that beautiful livery from O'Reilly Curtis in the 06 there, Mach 1 Esports. Doing a great job leading this one away, but he will be using a lot more fuel, so it may even be, could even be a lap or 2, using this fuel at the front. So he will come in a lot earlier, so hopefully he's got some team players behind him that might come with him, or he might be on his own.
Yeah, well, that's the big thing. You're going to use a lot more fuel running in the open like that, and people like Skurlock having to chase down this little pack will have used a bit more fuel than some of the guys running a little bit further in the pack, like Josh Micklemore and Scott Griffiths at the front of the pack at least. Of course, when you're running out in the front, you're going to get that lovely, clean, cool air coming into your car as well, and when you're running in a pack like that, you do get some very warm U's there as well, so you've got to be careful of engine temperature too, and there's all these little bits you have to think about when you're pack racing like this as well.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'm just going to go through that top 10, see how many teammates are actually in there. So far, the only one that's got teammates is Skurlock and Luke Trahir. Oh, Ruben's got Riley at the back of that pack in about 9th position, so he's got a teammate as well, but there's only very, very few teammates up there. You've got Josh Micklemore on his own up there for Mitch Motorsports. You've got I think Rosell's up there. We've got Reese May. I don't see any teammates around there for him either. So, it's a bit of a mixed group here. It's going to be very interesting coming when we come up to green flag stocks, which possibly, I'm going to say about 30 laps to 35 laps.
Yeah, those green flag stops are going to come sooner rather than later for sure. They will start having to think about that. We're on lap 14 at the moment, so still a little bit of time before the green flag stops have to become an actual full thought process. But of course, when you do stop here, if you stop on your own, you are going to be in serious trouble. Just actually was watching Justin Witcher there down in 15th place, and he was running very low in that little pack with his teammates, and just touching the apron, which is something you don't always want to do because that can really unsettle the car.
Yeah, there's a couple of degrees down there, but then it goes to a flat if you go any further. So you're definitely not going to be doing that. That'll slow you down as well, scuffing that front splitter. But going back to the pit stops, you come in earlier if you're leading this pack, and if you have to come in on your own, the other guys will stay out in that pack. They'll be lapping a lot faster, like almost 2 seconds faster than you a lap. And if they stay out for another 2 laps, that's 4 seconds straight away that they've just gained on you coming on your own.
Well, that's it. I was sort of in practice a little bit earlier and just sort of watching the speeds of these cars. When you're actually running in the pack full pelt, you can be running up to about 10 to 20 kilometers per hour faster than you can on your own, which is a huge difference. When you're out there on your own, you're running around about just under 300 kilometers per hour. When you're out there in a pack, you're running the sort of 315 sometimes up to about 320 mark when they're going full pelt, of course. But sort of, it's a huge difference in speed, and over a very long 4.28 kilometre track, 10 kilometres per hour difference makes a huge difference in time.
Oh, absolutely. And when speed is everything here, top speed is everything. So while we're in a bit of a holding pattern, though, I guess we didn't sort of call who we got. So who you got for the win tonight? We're 16 laps in. Not much has changed too much apart from the gas. Who you got, Carl?
Oh, who do we want to put the curse of the commentator on, you mean, Dave?
Absolutely.
Look, I got to say, Ruben Phelps has looked absolutely stellar out there at the moment. Really good speed, and he has been one of those drivers that's been knocking on the door for a victory all year in the Cup. So it would be great to see Ruben do it tonight and actually get that victory. What about yourself, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. I like Ruben in the 06 there, but you chose him, so I'll pick someone else. I'm going to go for the 350 because remember he's racing for the Big Four, whatever. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but remember he's in the hunt for that sim rig at the end of the year. If he can get the triple win, I think it is at 4 tracks. I think you've got to win 3 of the 4. Yeah,
you've got to win 3 of the 4 tracks. The super speedways, of course, so Daytona, Talladega, and Indianapolis, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't. We'll have to look that. You can see Kevin Martin actually on your broadcast there. So he's on his own. So he's about to drop a lap. So he's going to go a lap down now. As Ruben Phelps goes to the high side, he's going to give up this lead. He's got a teammate back in the pack. This is strategy. So he's going to drop back down there. He's going to find Riley. And I'd say that they'll save a little bit of fuel here while he can, and pit with Riley. So I reckon this is a team strategy here because Riley left the gap. He fills that gap perfectly, and there you have it, teamwork.
Yeah, odd to see Jason Martin already a lap down, and that's a tough one for him. He's been out there on his own running around, and that's the difference it makes, is when you're out there on your own, you're sort of almost just stuck, aren't you?
Yeah, you've got nothing. There's nothing worse than being on your own at a track like this. You were literally just driving with one wheel, and to be honest with you, concentration levels are pretty low. So now he's back in that pack, so he's going to be the first car lap down. If anything to happen with a caution, I think he will get that lap back though. Yeah, that's it. The lucky dog can come into play. Meanwhile, that second pack has fallen away a bit from the leaders. They are about what's the time difference away from the leader? I've lost my gaps now. They're about 5 seconds off the pace of the leader, so they've dropped back about 2 seconds since I last talked about it. So that second pack is falling back a little bit, and I've got to say, mainly that's probably because there's quite a bit of battling going on. Neil Pearson is leading it, but there have been a few changes of positions in that pack, and they're not all running together, so to say. There are a few people that are wanting to change positions and wanting to get up a little bit higher in place, and that's costing them a little bit of speed. Yeah, what I'm noticing just from the bit of broadcast we're watching now live there, there's a few cars moving side to side, so that will actually kill the momentum in these trains now. So with this new package, any sort of side to side movement, like you see there, those cars going up the track there, coming back down up the track, that will kill the speed in this pack. So that'll be why they're losing pace. See, it's broken up. They're a little bit broken up back there. They need to get themselves in line and sort it out.
Yeah, they really need to try and get working together and just get it working in their favour. Although the front pack now is starting to get a little bit wobbly as well. They're starting to try and battle for a few positions and just see. Well, it's who doesn't want to lead this race at the moment. Reese May's doing a great job up there in front, but of course going to be using much more fuel. So I imagine he's going to want to try and shuffle back in the pack at some stage. But these guys are starting to get a little bit wriggly down the straights because they are following a little bit closer. I did notice as well, Lachlan might have had a couple of blinking issues as well, so he might be struggling a little bit with some sort of connectivity issue. So hopefully that doesn't come into effect for him and doesn't cause any issues.
Yeah, no, if they're not a track like this, you don't need any sort of blinking going on here. But even that front pack's doing a lot of sort of weaving as well, so they're not sorted out themselves either. So those guys behind, if they can just get themselves sorted out a little bit, they can cash this front pack, and we'll have a good pack for the lead, or for the race at least anyway for now. And we're coming up to green flag pit stops in the next few laps, so about 15 laps away, I reckon.
Yeah, it's going to be getting closer and closer, of course, and a lot of green flag running out there is going to be chewing up the fuel very, very quickly as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As you look at Damon Stockton, I saw him sort of just use that side draft before on Ruben. So just went out, stuck that fender to the rear, and just dragged him back a bit. Was able to go around the outside and slot back in front of him and move up one position. That was a few laps ago now, but I was just keeping an eye on it. But yeah, it's not much else going on. We've got the 31 of Josh Mickelmore, who we know is a season campaigner, championship leader. He's sitting second at the moment, and he's got a great picture of what's out in front of him. He's just got a guy out there using his fuel instead of Josh, so he's in a good position.
Yeah, he's got a great view of that very, very nice livery on Reese May at the moment, with the ANZAC-inspired livery on his car as well. And as we said, there's quite a few cars out there tonight with different ANZAC liveries. And which is your favourite out there tonight? Let us know in the comments, of course. We'd love to know. Quite like the Crank Esports, what they've done. They've got a very subtle little change to their liveries tonight. If you look at Luke Traher and Michael Skurlock, of course. They've got the Kiwi flag on the front, proudly displaying that part of the ANZAC heritage. But on the sides, they got that nice little bit of ANZAC livery on there as well. So some really nice looking cars out there. And as you said, with Riley Curtis and Ruben Phelps as well, the Mark 1 Esports boy, as always, getting some great ANZAC inspired liveries.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a few different cars out there. We've got to try and keep an eye on who's who, because I was struggling earlier. We were looking at some pictures and I saw those blue and yellow cars. I think they're Barley cars, but I didn't want to call it just in case I was wrong. But you can see Lachlan Urquio actually on the outside of Riley Curtis now as Jason Martin lap down, just trying to work out, see what's going on. I guess poke the nose up there. Can't hurt to try now. You can't lose the race right now. Well, you can't win it, but you definitely can lose it to an extent. But it won't hurt to try things. So yeah. And as I said, Jason Martin's up there, and now he's lapped down, but Josh Mickelmore's in that same pack. So they expect to see those guys to come and pit on the same lap as well.
Yeah, that's it. And as you said, those Barley cars with Raymond Yeager, Greg Spence and Justin Witcher, really, really nice looking livery on those cars. Nice and distinct, nice and different from their usual livery as well. And another really nice looking ANZAC livery out there too. So it's nice to see people getting in the spirit, so to say. And just having that little display of little bit of display of pride for the veterans out there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a special weekend in Australia, a special round for the guys on the sim sort of things. It's not a big deal, I guess, sim racing, but even that moment of silence, sort of, it's just surreal as well. You sort of stop and think. So it was great to have that at the start of this race.
Luke Traher having a bit of an issue. I think he just had a connection just drop out for a second. And he had a big moment just coming onto the back straight. So he's lost a few positions. He's jumped out of line at the moment. He's just keeping it up there for the second. But yeah, he had a big blink issue there, and he's managed to get it back under control. But a bit of a moment there for him.
Yeah, that's never good. I can see actually a few of the guys that didn't make the race, it looks like they've jumped in to help their teammates out and spot them for the race. So that's good to see that the guys that didn't make the race, some of them are sticking around and helping their teammates out.
Absolutely, and at the end of the day, this is a team sport as well as a individual sport, of course. When you do have teammates, you do have to support them. And you do have to cheer them on as hopefully not singing to them and causing them to crash like some drivers in the field, Michael Skurlock. Yeah, it is that thing of just giving that bit of moral support sometimes can really help out. Meanwhile, those guys that are in that second pack are starting to catch up to the front now. They've started to get everything working together. They're gaining a little bit. They're only 3 seconds behind now, so they've made up a good 2 seconds. And you can see...
That's good. They're listening to the keys. They must have someone on the broadcast.
Yeah, listening to the advice, which is always a good thing to do. But yeah, they're starting to close up, which is good. You can visually see it as well now. And I just heard there's some cars that have dropped right off towards the back with Brian Richmond, Tristan Koch, Edward Foster, and Ryan Jones at the moment. They've sort of in a pack of 4 at the moment, and they're desperately trying to catch back up at this time, but they are a good 8 seconds off the leaders, so they've got a big gap to make up, and with such a small pack as well, that's very tricky. Then you have people like Danny G, Joshua Carroll Walden, and Matt Hunter. They're in a pack of 3 as well, and they're down there 16 seconds behind at the moment, so they've got a tough job at the moment. Some very fast drivers, and some drivers that we expect to see doing very well on super speedways quite far back tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's a whole new ball game. It's the nature of the beast now. I said the field was going to spread out, and they have. I don't even know how Edward ended up back with that little 4-car draft, because he was at the back of a bigger pack. There was one point he was 4 wide with some of the DPR cars, and now he finds himself with Brian Jones, Tristan Koch, and Brian Richmond. So yeah, not ideal, but that's just the way it goes now. It's how the racing is. So expect after these green flag stops to see a lot more of those little groups, and just trying to do what they can to stay on the lead lap, I guess, at the moment.
Yeah, Foster's back there because he got a bit of a slap on the wrist from last time out at Richmond Raceway, where he got himself the 3rd strike, so an end of the line penalty, so he had to start right there at the back of the grid.
Yeah, actually didn't go well. So that's how it goes, unfortunately. As he's having a good old push on the back of Ryan Jones in the 111. But with these cars now, and you can see on board there, you can see, Ryan Jones may have just got a bit loose, or he might have just pulled up. He wasn't comfortable there, but it is now uncomfortable to be the guy in front getting pushed. As you come off those turns, if the guy's behind you, you lose all the rear downforce, and you feel like you're floating on a cloud. I had it happen in a bit of practice earlier in the week, and it's funny, it's cool, but man, it's scary.
Yeah, these cars not known for their huge amounts of downforce to begin with, but they do have that little bit of downforce, and that bit of downforce does make the difference on a track like this. I mean, it's the drag effect that makes the difference. As all Tristan Koch there just is trying to get onto the back of Foster, and I think he made a little bit of contact there, just trying to get a little bit closer there. They really want to run as close as they can, but Tristan just made a little bit of contact with Foster. Nothing major. I can't see any damage to the cars, so that is fine, but they just got very squirrely there for a second. So, as you said, it's very tricky because you've got to also have the confidence to run that close.
Yeah, definitely. And with the new package, that's all I'm going to say tonight is new package, but there's a air bubble basically. To get to that bumper, you've got to try and break that energy, that air bubble in there, and get to the bumper. Once you do break that, you can either do it by the car in front slowing down a bit, or getting help from behind and pushing you through it. But once you do break that bubble and you get on the bumper, you get stuck there good and proper. So you actually got to get off the throttle a fair bit if you're pushing car, and it's a fine art. So you got to know not to lift off too much, otherwise you just lose that bubble again. But yeah, it's definitely relearning to drive this track.
Yeah, I saw a few people say that it feels like the cars from the last generation of Cup cars, almost. It feels a little bit more like that in some respects, and it almost feels like driving a completely different car now. So, it is that thing of just having to relearn to drive again almost, and that does throw you out a little bit. These little changes, they do make a huge difference to your confidence when you're driving. And that's the other thing as well, of course, is confidence is a huge part of motorsport and a huge part of sim racing. Is if you've got confidence in a car, you are almost unbeatable. But if you lose even 1% confidence in a car because you're just not quite comfortable, that's where the difference makes.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, this is the biggest change I've felt in these Cup cars for a long time. It's actually quite surprising when I first jumped in on and come out here and did a bit of a practice with some of the guys, and how different it was. Like it was night and day different. So yeah, these guys just got to adapt. It's the same for everybody. So you just got to adapt and overcome. And look, I can guarantee one thing: we will have a winner at the end of this race.
Well, yeah, we definitely will. We definitely will have a winner. So yeah, Michael Scarlett getting interested in the back of Adam Rozel's car just there, just over the radio. Just enjoying the look of that kangaroo from behind. But that second group is catching up very quick now. You can see they're down to around about just under 3 seconds now. They're getting into the 2 second mark. So they are closing very quickly on this group, and that's going to bring a lot more cars to the front of this grid.
Yeah, absolutely. So they've sort of tied it up a bit, and they've made some big gains. So that's going to help with green flag stops, having a bit more of an option, I guess, when they catch these cars. But yeah, old Buck Wild Skirley, he'll be eyeing off that Kangaroo for sure.
That's it. And to give you a bit of an idea of the difference it makes running in the packed sort of out of it at the moment. So everybody running in those rather large trains at the moment are setting about 48, just late 48s, early 49s for the times. Meanwhile, people that are outside of the pack are setting 49.5s. So, you know, about half a second off the pace. You know, and that's the difference it makes. It is huge. So people like Danny G at the moment, JCW and Matt Hunter are really struggling.
Sure, there's that Kangaroo we were talking about. That's really right on board with Michael Skurlock. Get a nice up and close person with the Aussie Kangaroo on the back of Roselle's car there. So yeah, we'll be sick of that by the end of it, I reckon.
Okay.
So cars coming up, so bang on 35 laps. So I believe we're going to have some green flag pit stops.
We are going to be getting some green flag pit stops, and who's going to stick it out there and see if they can make a little bit of an advantage here. It's all about getting in at the right time, and it is going to be chaos coming into pit lane. Reese May is the first car in there. He's going to try not to lock it up, and they're side by side.
He got in, his teammate got into him. Mirko Dortnat got into the back of the 43 and has turned him on pit road. He's gathered up, but that's less than ideal.
Yeah, that's not what needs to happen there, and that's going to be a big moment. It looks like Mirko's just taken it a bit too late and gone into the back of Traher there, spun him around. That's going to be a big mistake, and that's what I was just saying about those pit stops, is you've got to be so careful of them, because it's so easy to make a mistake.
It's high risk coming in there. You're coming at a lot of speed, and you get a lot of cars like that. That was a big group. You don't want to come in like that when there's a big group. You want to come with a smaller group. But yeah, a bit of chaos there. And I was watching them, they got it sorted pretty well. As the next group come in now, you see all the Barley cars coming off the track. So yeah, not ideal for the Cranky Sports guys there, but hopefully they can get going again and without too much damage. And the second group nicely into the box.
Yeah, that's it. A few less cars to have to worry about. There are a few cars exiting, which can sometimes cause some trouble. So you've just got to be a bit careful sometimes, because yeah, you can sometimes make contact in pit lane, of course, and it's never a fun feeling when that happens. And just how hard is it, Dave, coming into pit lane on these super speedways?
Well, there's no braking markers, so you're guessing basically. You're coming in at top speed 320k, 315, and you've got to guess where to brake to get the maximum advantage. So you want to brake all the way until you get to the line, and that's when you don't want to brake too much or too late, otherwise you get done with speeding. So yeah, very hard to do, and especially in a group of cars like that, you sort of got to find your own ground. And as a pack that did come out behind Micklemore, just drove up behind him and just going to pick him up. So good stop from Josh there, as they're rounding up the guys coming out of the pits now on the bottom there, out of the apron. So we'll see how it all turns up again.
And Reese May made a bit of a mistake in pit lane and went across and hit Josh Micklemore in pit lane. I was just looking at the front of Micklemore's car and saw some damage to his nose. Oh. So he's not the only. So Traher was not the only one, and Traher and Dortnack were not the only ones to have issues in that pit stop. Josh Micklemore, quite a lot of damage to the front of that car. It's a little bit wobbly now, and that's not going to help him on a super speedway.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, who has worked it out absolutely perfect. Looks like the Mac 1 Esports guys. So they're running second and third at the moment, Riley and Ruben. So like I said, they'd had a bit of a plan to work with each other before the race. So that's working a treat right now. So those guys are sitting 1, 2, 3 at the moment.
Yeah, they're sitting in good positions at the moment. A little bit down the pack. Lachlan Oakfield just on an absolute flyer there, just going down the inside of Skurlock, I think it was, and just absolutely flying up the pack right now. He's just passing Josh Micklemore. He's right on the back of Griffiths as we stand. So he is trying his best. He's sort of trying to get underneath Griffiths. Doesn't quite make it this time round. Very close there. You can see there Josh Micklemore right on the outside line. He's trying to get a little bit of help from Reese May.
Yeah, as you're saying. So I think he's let Reese go now because he knows he's a bit of a sitting duck there. He's going to end up getting turned if he's doesn't have the pace to run and lead up. Oh, as it goes round, Reese May goes round. We're going to stay green. He's down on the apron. This won't cause a caution here. He gets hard into the inside fence there. it's gonna have to come back out, but we will stay green. This is on the apron.
Yeah, just watching that one, and looks like Reese May and maybe Pearson, I think it was, made contact, and that's what caused that one.
Yeah.
So and he's managed to spin it back round and get it going before a caution comes out. So
the flaps are up. Keep that car on the ground, otherwise they take flight. And he's almost half done a good job keeping off the fence, but that hard lick, you see it come off the ground there on that safer barrier. So that'll probably be a fair bit of damage there, but who knows? He might be able to get it going and get it repaired.
Yeah, it's a big shame. He was having some good speed out there tonight, May. He qualified up in third position. So that's really going to affect his race, and it's going to be a much trickier one now for him than it was beforehand. But as you said, up the front, it's looking good for Matty Raymond, Ruben Phelps, and Riley Curtis at the moment. They have Justin Witcher just behind them as well.
Yeah, Justin Witcher having a good run up in the number 10. They're representing the 10 well there up in fourth, so that's good to see Justin up there. Always good to see some new faces up in that top 5, and hopefully he can keep it going. We'll touch wood here for him. Hopefully I don't put the curse on him, but you're having a good run so far.
That's it. Yeah, you've always got to be extra careful when talking about anybody in motorsport, because guaranteed, if you're a commentator, you will put a curse on them. It's a great power and great responsibility that we have here in the commentary booth.
That's like we tell ourselves that anyway.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, who was that? That was
getting loose, was it?
That was Skurlock.
Yep. Yeah, the green number, the 350 on the side, so Michael Skurlock just getting shoved out of line there. I'm not sure exactly whose bumper it came off, but he come darting out of that line, and just going to go back and have a quick look.
Yeah, he's going to start falling back and have to try and slot himself into a good position. I think that's going to be between the DPR cars at the moment, but he hasn't got a good spot to do it as it stands.
So what happened was the kangaroo that he's been following checked up big time in front of him, and so without wrecking him, he sort of just jumped out of line and saves turning to 293 Roselle. So sort of did him a favour there, but cost himself some time and positions there and dropped back behind those other guys. Yeah,
it looks like Reese May might be out of this race, unfortunately. Looks like he's jumped out of the car from what I can see, so it might be a lot of damage on that car. I think his night is done. But just talking about cars that are having a bit of a rough night, Mitch Motorsport cars, Danny G and Jason Martin are both a lap down. They're the only other cars that are a lap down at the moment. Not going well for the Mitch Motorsport boys there.
No, which is odd. Last time we came here, mate, they were pretty dominant. But this new package is throwing a cat amongst the pigeons, and some of those guys aren't adapting as well as some of the other guys might be at the moment. Yeah,
it's one of those things that we're not used to saying very often. Mitch Motorsport, one of those teams that just, they can be absolutely dominating out there when it is going well for them, and it often is. I mean, they've got a little bit of damage up there with Josh Micklemore. Hamish Gallagher currently leads that group, but he's got a bit of damage on the right front as well. So they're not looking in the best shape at the moment, unfortunately. They've got a few bits of damage on their cars, so it's not going to be an easy night for the Mitch Motorsport team.
No, definitely not. It's a long way back from here, as we've seen. We've had no yellow flags. We've had a couple of incidents, but no yellow flags yet. So, long green flag runs here, and it's going to be hard to recover from that now.
Yeah, we're on lap 44 now, I think. So, yeah, lap 44. So we've got 46 remaining. So it is still going, the race. Meanwhile, the group a little bit further back of Spencer Foster, Brian Richmond, I think it's in that. There's a few drivers in that group that are trying to catch up now, and they've got about a 6-second gap to make up, so it's not going to be easy for them. Phil Otto's there, sorry. So Phil Otto, Greg Spence, and Danny G is in there as well, but he's a lap down. But they're starting to catch up to the tail of Raymond Yeager, so they're trying to catch up to P17.
Leaders are catching someone as well. Oh, it's the Reese May car on the outside, just going down another couple of laps there, unfortunately.
Good to see Reese coming back out there, but yeah, he's going to be a bit slow out there for sure. Running out there, currently his speed is 295 kilometers per hour, so he's way down on speed, and when you're considering the leader's doing 310 odd kilometers per hour, that is a big closing speed there. So he's just got to be a bit careful and just carry it round, really, just to get points and just get a finish. That's what you got to do sometimes, unfortunately. Other people may have a worse night than you. That's the thinking of it in that respect.
Yeah, that's right. You do what you can to stay in the race, because it is, as we saw in the Daytona 500, Skurlock came from 7th or something like that, craziness on the last lap, and won the thing. He was 7th coming down the back straight, and P1 by the checkered flag. So you're definitely not out of it, but it does make it hard for yourself, though.
That's it. Skurlock was a lap down as well at one point. It was a bit of a crazy one for sure, but you have to be in it to win it, and you are never out of the race for sure. So as we said, people like Danny G, Jason Martin not having the best of runs tonight. They are a lap down, but it's not over for sure. There's still a lot of race to go. Still a lot of kilometers to drive for these guys, and anything can happen in motorsport, and it usually does.
Yeah, absolutely. And with this new package, it does make it a bit harder, but you just got to execute your pit stops all night correctly. And seeing a little bit of a gap between the 06 and 93 here, as the 06 actually just drops back to the 93 to make sure that they don't get too far out front. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but the 93 Riley Curtis, with the pack behind him, was sort of dropping off those two out front. So there might be a bit of speed loss there, but yeah, for some reason I just saw Ruben just drop back and just to make sure. But see how Ruben's just streaked out again from Riley Curtis. I'm not sure if he's carrying some damage or something. Doesn't look like it, but it just doesn't look like it does the pace as the two guys in front.
Yeah, it's been weird. I've been watching this front, and Matty Raymond's actually been pulling out quite a big gap as those cars just drop back a little bit. It's almost like they're checking up a little bit, giving Matty Raymond the gap, and then just catching back up to him. Yeah,
actually, you can see the guys are trying to form something on the outside. The pack's sort of slowed down enough that they're actually going to try and make something happen on the outside. There's only 3 of them up there at the moment, but they get a couple more cars as Roselle drives up there now, who they don't really pick up. They just dropped that side of him. He needs to pick Roselle up if they want to have any chance, because now Lockie in the 42 will drop right out the back of that train now. So he should have sat him behind there and taken his pill and taken his medicine and then just push Roselle. But yeah, you're going to need more cars than up the top there to make a charge, but they are trying to make something happen, which is good to see.
Yeah, and there's quite a few DPR cars there, and they've got quite a few DPR cars up in that area. They've got Damon Stockton on the lower line at the moment, and Neil Pearson as well. So they've got a few cars in the top 10 that can actually slot out there, and it looks like Justin Witcher is jumping up.
Yep, he's jumped up in front, so he's going to join that train. So now you've got 2 trains coming right at the 83. So Ronnie Curtis got loose. Oh, there's a wreck. That's Worley, I think, going around there. So Riley Curtis got a touch from behind, got loose down, went down the apron, came back up, and one of the cars reacted to that and actually got into the car on the top line by looks at that. We're going to try and get some replays for you, but we have a first caution of the night.
First caution of the night there, so let's see what exactly happened there. Try and figure it out. It looks like maybe Stockton is actually
right there. Just had that car right across the front of him. I think that's Worley, or is it? Yeah, it is Worley. Sorry, it's just go on, Carl.
Yeah, it's Curtis gone into Stockton, and that's gone up into that top line. It's spun them round. Big incident there, and yeah, that was
geez, that was close. So
that was a very close one.
Got out of that pretty well as Damon Stockton comes down, but they don't make contact. So, yeah, that came from right at the top of the track as we ride on board with Riley Curtis. Now, there he goes. Geez, that was close. I don't even know if he lifted, but he's got a little bit of damage on that right front. You can see whether that was caused from that, but more than likely. But, yeah, intense bit of racing there. But, yeah, as I said, it come from the top lane and right across and right down to the bottom.
Yeah, Philip Worley doing a great job of actually recovering that car. He managed to get it spinning in the right direction. Once he'd spun round, he did a couple of spins and then had it pointing in the right direction. So he didn't lose many positions from that big one.
The replay, there's a lot of cars taking avoiding action and doing an absolutely brilliant job of not hitting him and causing more damage and getting more cars involved in there. So Riley did make slight contact, but yeah, that was the only really other party involved in that one.
As they come into pit lane, so the race is on pit lane right now. Got a lot of cars coming in to come and get some fresh tyres, get some fuel in the car, and get some repairs, I'd say, no doubt. Quite a few of those drivers are going to need to get the old hammer out and just bash a few of those panels in the right direction. Looks like everybody's got through pit lane relatively cleanly this time round. I'm not seeing any major big spins or anybody rolling over or on fire or anything like that. So that's always a good sign.
Very slow in his box there. Now he goes. So looks like he lost a couple of spots there. Might have missed his box a little bit there. So he was up the front there in the Mach 1 Esports car. He's lost probably 3 spots, 3 maybe 4 spots there. So yeah, interesting. But yeah, that caution comes out a bit of racing. So we said the pack that was sort of slowing up a bit. There was a bit of disorganisation and they got 2 wide, and then actually got 3 wide at one point there. So yeah, it was good to see a bit of racing, to be honest. And unfortunately, it ended pretty quickly. But yeah, we saw something.
Well, great avoiding action as well by all of those drivers in the pack. I was watching a couple of them and they did great jobs. Hamish Gallagher almost had a huge collision up there and he managed to save that from becoming a big wreck. And all of them managing to avoid Philip Worley as well, because he managed to just keep that car in as much control as humanly possible when you're spinning around. But he managed to sort of keep it in the middle of the track so everybody could avoid it. And managing to get it spinning in the right direction as well, it meant that he was not in trouble when it happened. So this is going to give Matt Hunter the leading position at the moment. So I think we'll see him go around and lead a lap to get that bonus point. And just to say, I'll let it Talladega, of course. Always nice to have that little bit of bragging rights under your belt sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to offset him on strategy though. They stopped 15 laps to go, so he'd be almost halfway through a fuel run here. So he's worked it out that way. It could come back to him at the end of the race. He could be the genius, or he could cost him a fair bit of track position towards the end of this race.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we've got 40 laps remaining, so it's going to be hard for anyone. Well, nobody's going to be able to make it on fuel from here, from what we saw. So it was about a 35 lap stint. So they all need to stop once more.
And it's going to be a splash.
Yeah.
So this is where it's critical to get your fuel right. So when you come into that stop, as Raymond Jaeger comes in the pit lane, I think maybe even closed, maybe not. Anyway, yeah, if you stop late in this race for a splash and dash, you don't need to take tyres. So you've got to make sure your tyres are off, and you've got to select what fuel you're going to take, because that matters. So it's all fuel. So if you take an extra 5 litres, it might cost you another 2 seconds, So it's going to be interesting at the end of this one.
Yeah, Raymond Jaeger does come in on a closed pit stop, so on a closed pit lane, so not sure what's going on there.
I'd say he'll get an end of the line penalty for that, and nothing more, I believe. So,
yeah, I think I'm just wondering if they just wanted to get
popping up on fuel. I reckon he knows how close it is on tight, so he's going to go and top the fuel up and just see if he can't eke out a little bit of fuel saving in this last run, maybe. And
we
just throw caution to the wind, I guess, maybe.
We saw one of his teammates coming in as well. I think it was Greg Spencer coming in as well. So those two coming in going to have end-of-the-line penalties, but they are going to just rejoin just right at the back of the line anyway. So it could work in their favour a little bit.
Yeah, it'll give them a little bit extra fuel. But once again, that's track position as well. So they're right at the back. They're going to have to save a little bit more. I think saving 5 laps of fuel is a bit too much to ask, but you never know. Like we said, you're never out of it. So those guys are trying it. They're going to have a crack at that. Matt's having a crack a different way, and the majority of the field is coming on that yellow flag.
That's it. Well, if we get 15 laps of green flag running and Matt Hunter manages to keep the car up in the sort of top 10 area, then it will work out very well for him. He's going 28 positions as it stands, and he's going to be leading us away right now. But he needs that caution to come out in the next 15 laps or so to make it work out for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, he'll find himself not alone. He will have a couple of other guys there that did not stop as well, so they'll come with him. But yeah, just have to see how it plays out, I guess.
As the pace car peels back in, and we get that long drive across the tribal section, and have a few more moments to think about this before we go to green flag racing. Matt Hunter's going to be sitting there just having a ponder. He's going to be on those slightly older tyres. Not too much wear around here, of course, but you've got to be careful when you put your foot down. He gets the chance to drop it, though, first, and he is the one that has the prerogative, as Justin Witcher's on the outside of him. When will Hunter drop it? He's waiting. He drops it. Doesn't get a great restart there. Justin Witcher does manage to pull ahead of him. So very close there on the start. And, yeah, Justin Witcher's just managed to eke out a little bit, but Matt Hunter's going to get underneath and have that inside line.
Yeah, Hunter should get the run through here. Justin got a good jump, and then the gear change might have a bit slow there, but he's got a bit of run coming out on the outside now with, I think that's Dyson pushing him in behind there. So they're going to try and make a charge. So we'll see if Richard drops down. He should. It would be advisable to drop down as he goes down now. So he drops down to the front of the Matt Hunter, and he will lead us on lap 52.
Yeah, Dyson, I think Dyson instinctively wanted to drop down there as well, but he had a rather large Matt Hunter-shaped object underneath him, so he couldn't do it. So he just got quite close to Hunter and was just trying to pressure him a little bit to try and get into that position. Dyson does not want to be out on that outside line, it seems. But this is actually not too bad news, not a bad thing for Matt Hunter if he gets put in the line second, because that's going to help his fuel numbers, of course.
Yeah, definitely help fuel numbers, and now he's at the front of the pack, so he will be praying for hopefully a caution, and then he can come in, and everybody will come in because they need to all come in at one point. So Matt drops down, so he must have got a penalty maybe. I'm not sure what's going on. No, that's the back straight. So he's backed out of it.
Yeah, he's backed right out of it there, so not sure what's going on for Hunter there. And
yeah, that's an odd one. I thought maybe he was coming in to stop, but I was going to say at a track other than Super Speedway, maybe I'd say, yeah, come in, but you couldn't run on your own. So, yeah, he's definitely just dropped out of it, and now he won't be able to catch that pack. He's dropped too far back, and he will be on his own back there.
Yeah, odd decision there. Maybe just not feeling comfortable having...
We got one round. Josh Mickelmore, our championship leader, is round down on the pit road. He went around off the front. Oh, we got another one coming around in turn one. They're still wrecking down here, so we had a second incident there actually under caution. Caution had already come out, so we're going to have to go back down and break that one up.
Yeah, so that first one was caused by Adam Rosell, and then the second one was caused by Adam Rosell as well. Well, not caused, but Adam Rosell was caught up in it for sure. Basically, what I can see there, so Adam Rosell,
Scott Griffiths,
and the number 5 has come down.
He's turned 2 people in one lap, yeah. So the 31, he's turned to 31 and turned to 5 as well, in one short, swift blow.
Yeah, but I'd say that second one's more on Scott Griffiths' sort of side, because he's come down in front of Adam Rosell there, and Adam Rosell's got nowhere to go there. But that first one, that first one's a little bit more touch and go. I'll have to have a bit more of a investigation on that one.
I don't know. The first one with Josh Mickelmore, I'm going to call that a racing incident. Josh is trying to get down the bottom line. The 263 is there. Didn't catch him in brake. He could have caught him in brake and just breathed off the throttle, let him in. But at the end of the day, he's racing. So if he doesn't want to do that, he doesn't have to. So Josh has gone down. Not enough room there. Wasn't clear. And gets himself turned around. And, down on the apron, as you can see in the slow motion replay. It does a good job to lock it down and gather back up. But as we ride with Rosell, the 5's going to come down as well. And obviously the yellow flag's come out now, so the guys are checking up as well. So makes it a bit more difficult. The 5's obviously aware he's there, comes down, and he's going to wipe himself across the front as well.
Yeah, so, yeah, that was a messy one there for sure. That will be looked at post-race, of course, like all incidents that bring out cautions.
Tell you who's going to be shooting himself in the foot right now is the 48 of Matt Hunter.
Yeah.
If he had stayed out, he would have got his pit stop now, and he would have had that track position. So, unfortunately, he made the decision to drop down there as everybody comes to pit road now, because you need to come and get fuel and topped up to get home. And unfortunately, Matty's just jinked too early there, but unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast.
Well, we say everybody, but Justin Witcher, Damon Stockton, and Adam Rosell have all stayed out. So those 3 stayed out this time round. They've only done 5 laps since the last pit stop, and there's 36 laps remaining. So got to say that's probably a bit of a mistake.
Oh, it's ballsy, at least.
Yeah, it's going to be very close there now, and well, I mean, everybody can just about make it to the end from here now.
Yeah, they should be. It's still going to be tight, but they should be fine. They'll run another probably 2 laps on the caution. I can hear a couple of cars out there just clutching it. I can hear some of them revving it for some odd reason, but most of these guys will be fuel saving at the moment and clutching these cars just to save every little bit of fuel they can. Yeah,
switching them off down the straights and putting in the clutch and trying to use as little fuel as possible, of course. It was interesting actually watching the IndyCar race, because they were talking to Tony Stewart about fuel saving. and he was having trouble getting used to fuel saving in an IndyCar rather than an ANZCAR, because it's a very different style of fuel saving in an ANZCAR to that of an open wheeler.
Yeah, I can imagine, definitely. But we'll see if those guys that didn't come down now and maybe think they needed an extra lap to get home. But it looks like they're staying up there at the moment. Justin Witcher in the 10 car in P1 at the moment. He'll be collecting his bonus points now, so leading this pack. He would have led a couple of laps now, and they do stay out on the track. So, yeah, they're in it for the long haul now. They're choosing track position and going to risk it, I guess you could say.
Scott Griffiths coming in this time around as well. So Scott Griffiths coming in for a fourth time. So he only recently made that stop. So I think he's coming in maybe just to get that little bit of extra repair work done maybe, but also that little bit of extra fuel put in. Just a couple of litres, nothing much chucked into the car, but every little counts. And that could be the difference between a good position and, a bad one tonight. That's the thing, is it's going to be very close.
Matt Hunter taking some fuel, so he's going to be the last car that's full of fuel. So if all these cars fail to make it on fuel, Matt Hunter's going to come through and win this one. But yeah, I think that caution might have ramped up a bit just because of how the race has panned out. So these guys are realising that you can't just sit and ride anymore. You got to start getting aggressive now. You got to try and make those moves and get in position. So Josh Mickle probably tried to do that. Thought, I need to get down to that bottom line. Tried to squeeze through that little gap that wasn't there, and yeah, it was there, but closed very quickly.
Yeah, that's it. It's so tricky to do, and you've got to be millimetre perfect, of course, to get it working. And that's what these guys are doing lap after lap. They are running millimetre perfect, but sometimes you do make that mistake, and human error is a huge thing in motorsport. It's the thing that makes motorsport what it is. And sometimes you don't have that human error at all. You get those freaks that just manage to do it lap after lap after lap with no trouble. But the majority of us being mortals, we will have one of those little moments sometimes. But at the moment, Justin Witcher in the number 10, of course, leading the race.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a game of millimetres, inches and millimetres. So his spotter would have been saying clear. And if he hesitated the slightest little bit and he went down, all of a sudden he wasn't clear. So it doesn't take much, and especially at these speeds, that'll just upset that car and, a bit of a passenger from there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not easy at all. And as we say, week in, week out, if when you're watching this, if you're from a road racing background and never really done much oval racing or think much of it, because it is just a lot of left turns and things like that, give it a go and come and have a try someday, especially in things like ARCA series and truck series and some of the lower formulas, because it's a really good way of getting an idea of just how hard it is out there. As the pace car has come back in, Justin Witcher is going to be leading this race across the line. Damon Stockton is on the outside. He's got a few of his teammates behind him, though. He's got Adam Rosell and Andrew Dyson, I believe, as well. So quite a few of them, Neil Pearson as well. So those guys looking good. They drop down quite quickly, though, as Witcher does get a really good restart.
Yeah, Stockton, Witcher went early there. You don't have to wait for the lights. He chose to go early. He's going to spread this field out a bit here, which is probably not a bad idea. And Stockton dropped down, left his teammate hanging on the outside. Look for possibly the 83 and Ruben Phelps to get teamed up here, but I'm seeing a lot of DPR cars up in that area. So those guys would want to try and get together and try and work something out here. But that early jump from the 10, as we see the 263 jump out and just drag that side draft back on Damon Stockton, he's not going to have enough without any help out there in the past. But now he's going to be shoved out of line and he's going to drop all the way to the back of this pack.
Yeah, that's the thing, is when you get out of favour, it can happen quite quickly, and then all of a sudden you've got nowhere to go and you lose that speed. At the moment, you've got Adam Rosell there running at 302 kilometres per hour, while Justin Witcher and David Stockton running 307. So, about 5-6 kilometres per hour difference when you're on that outside, and that is a huge difference in speed.
Yeah, definitely. So, so that big jump from the 10 there has actually spread that field out to create basically one big train, and so that's a very smart thing from the 10 to do there, is to go early, and everybody else reacts slowly, whereas on the green light, everybody, as the 263 jumped down the line and it's pushed on, it's Phil Otto, he's pushed him down below the yellow, and that sort of spread that field a little bit, but they held it all together and keep going. But some radio comms going out there just letting them know that he was not clear, and not happy about that move.
Yeah, a few choice words there over the radios, but no harm, no foul, you can say. They sort of all kept it together. Good reactions from Phil Otto there. He was absolutely on the ball, saw that one coming and just dropped down. But importantly, he did not slam on the brakes. He didn't panic. He just dropped out of line, got back into position straight away. So he only lost one position effectively. Really good driving from Phil Otto. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, the Mitch Motorsport cars have all found each other now in the state of Joshua Carroll Walden. Danny G, Joshua Nickamore, and Jason Martin.
Yeah, so they're on a high line. They've got another teammate out there, Hamish Gallagher, somewhere, but I'm not sure exactly where he is. But I'm actually looking at the 53, Edward Foster. So early in the race, he was P nowhere. And now if you ask him in 11th, he'd still say he's P nowhere. But he's got himself back in this race, and yeah, he's not too far off this lead now.
Yeah, working his way up there in a slow but steady fashion, and then that's what you have to do sometimes on these super speedways. It's not, it's not important about where you are on lap one. It all matters about that final lap. It's only that last little bit of lap time that matters. Those final few meters and that checkered flag. That's the only bit that counts in this race.
Absolutely. Now we're getting a few more cars to try and tie that up, that line. So if Phil Otto jumped up in front of those Mitch cars. Bottom line's just going to stall out real quick here as the run now comes for the one, Phil Otto. They're coming up on the outside. There's another one jumps up there. It's Worley by the looks of it. So he's going to jump up. So Phil needs to get him behind him and push. 47 of Richmond comes up now. So those guys are starting to try and build some momentum on that top line. Every time someone jumps up, they will stall it out a bit. But if they can get themselves back together, they will make time at the front.
Yeah, Brian Richmond trying to take advantage of this. He just manages to sneak back up there in the front of this pack as well. So he's managed to really jump up there and get a good run. And what this has done is the Mitch Motorsport cars were having a good run up there, and they were catching to Hamish Gallagher, who was a little bit further ahead. And they were sort of catching quite quickly to him. So they almost had the opportunity to all link up in formation flight there. But they're still going to have that opportunity.
Yep, so it's making more gains here. So Ryan Jones thought about jumping up, but he didn't though. He's missed that opportunity, but you have to make these split decision moves and go with it, and basically you get what you got. So I can see another car jump up there. So that's another DPR car as Pearson tries to make a move around the outside of 83. And he's got Dyson in front of him who's getting on the outside of Stockton. So we've got 2x2x2 from the lead now. We've got Justin Witcher out front on his own. So you can work the pack in this new package like they do. You see him on TV. You see Dale Jr. was the best at it. So he can jump up and stall that top line out. He can stay down the bottom. There's the top line. He's going to be too late to move up now, but Dyson's going to get a good run on him here. Jeez, that's tight up the front.
It is, and Neil Pearson is jumped up there, and he's now behind Andrew Dyson. So that top line is starting to work its way forward now. And they're working out quite well, but you can see just as they get buffered from the sides of the cars as well. It's not easy out there. These cars are starting to lose a little bit. Brian Richmond's sort of caught in the middle at the moment. He just gets caught sort of in a middle line on his own, and that's not what you want to have happen. That's going to stall that line out a little bit, drop it back a little bit now. Meanwhile, Justin Witcher's still got quite a big lead over Damon Stockton. So it looks like maybe Stockton might just be not pushing as hard as he has to, just trying to help his teammates there on the higher line.
Yeah, you got to remember that bubbles there, so it's going to be hard to break. So top line's a little bit disorganised now, so they had that big run, and now it's dropping off a little bit. So they'll have to get that momentum up. There's a couple of cars 3 wide now, which is going to stall it out even more. And I'd say that'll just drop right back off now. That you can't go 3 wide, otherwise, you can see that train dropping right back now. So Justin Witcher starved off the first raid and lives to tell the tale. And
as Neil Pearson just absolutely bump drafting Andrew Dyson at the moment, nose to tail as it is. They're trying their best to get to the front of this field and try and make it work again. But
Richmond they're on the inside of Pearson now, taking it 3 wide, trying to get through the middle. As I said, that's not the fastest way. So all those cars, as I said, they're starting to stall out now, and they're going to have to try and get together and make another train here.
Oh, so close there, Richmond and Pearson, as they are 3 wide across the start-finish line. You've got Richmond there caught in the middle at the moment as he's going to... Oh, he gets loose up into Neil Pearson there and manages to keep it. They managed to keep it going, but that's going to lose a lot of time. Pearson right up on that high side of the wall. That has cost him dearly. Richmond, meanwhile, has managed to get the car sort of under control again, but that was very, very sketchy. That was almost a big incident.
Right, Carl, can you just check, make sure you're live too, mate? But yeah, there's plenty going on. I feel like there might be a slight delay there as goes on, but yeah, so almost back into single file, except for about 4 cars at the back of that little pack there. So someone's going to have to try something eventually. Otherwise, we're going to sit like this until the end of the race, and then they'll try and race it to the end.
Yeah, sorry about that, slight delay.
I'll just let you finish, mate, and I'll just throw it in there. But that's what the cost of looking at replays does, mate.
That's it. Watching things from the past, just trying to check out on how something's happened. Sometimes you forget to hit that one button, and unfortunately, we don't have a big thing saying live or not live in front of us. So easy to have happen. But yeah, Justin Witcher up the front is doing a great job at the moment.
Well, they're trying to mount another comeback. So we've got another couple of cars that have just jumped out of the line. I think it might be Rich. No, it's the Mitch cars again. So remember, they started that whole line last time. So here they come again. They're going to try and mount another comeback. Richmond is amongst it, though. So he's got some speed, and he's happy to get up there and try it. So we've got the run coming down the 21 around there. They've got 13 down the bottom. See if he comes up. That's Hamish Gallagher. That's a teammate. He chooses to stay down the bottom, so that's interesting.
I think... Sorry, Dave, just to cut over you a little bit, because Gallagher does have some damage to the front of his car. I think he just doesn't want to lead the pack, so I don't think he's able to really lead, because at the moment, Jason Martin has got the cleanest car next to Danny G, while some of the other Mitch cars do have a little bit of damage, so it's the thing of, who's got the cleanest nose is going to be the leading car in that pack to get it going as fast as possible.
Yeah, definitely. You want to clean those, otherwise you end up turning the guy in front because just the pace isn't there. So making a good charge up here. So they're about to get up on the outside of the 83, and that's almost up to where they were before. So Witcher's got to keep an eye on that pack, and if they do come, they make a run. He's just got to go up there and block it, get in front of it, and it'll stall out, and he can work the 2 lines. So he's too late now. So the 21 is making a charge.
Yeah, they are really there, and you can see Jason Martin was a lap down earlier.
Oh, gee, that was a big push from Stockton just to push the 10 back out so they get loose, but had to be done.
Yeah, and I think I heard correctly over the radio that Witcher might just be lifting a little bit more, just trying to fuel save a little bit at the front of the pack, which is not going to work out well for you, because that's going to leave these cars out on the outside with a good chance of getting ahead. And I think what we'll see is as soon as they can get Josh Micklemore up past Justin Witcher, these guys will drop back to that low line and see what they can do. But they're just trying to maneuver their cars into position, trying to get all of their cars into the right spots, into the right places for the team, and then work it out from there.
Yeah, well, I think if Jason goes a bit high to the fence, they'll actually make it a bit more as they drop down. Brian Richmond risky drops down in front of the 10 of Witcher. But you said that he might be fuel saving. I know in this package you do have to lift a little bit to break that bubble, so he may have been just trying to lift just to try and get Stockton to his bumper to try and defend that lead, but obviously it didn't work out that way. But Matt Raymond jumps up there to try and make something happen.
Yeah, that's it. Matty Raymond up there now in front of that second pack as it stands, but this has slotted Jason Martin into the lead of the race. And what were we saying before, Dave? A lap down. We saw Jason Martin and Danny G a lap down before.
Big twitch from Danny G there. Richmond gave him a little bit of a shove off the turn there, and both of those cars had a big twitch off turn too. But yeah, absolutely right, Carl. Not about 2 out of it, and he was lapped down, and maybe now he's leading this thing.
Yeah, which you got to say, not an overall surprise when it is Jason Martin. He is one of those drivers that is incredibly fast, incredibly talented out there, and one of those top guys that we see week in, week out, and maybe not have the season that he's been wanting to have, but still, it's not a bad position to be in at the moment, at the front of that pack, as they are getting a little bit more racy behind there. David Stockton, I think, jumping out onto the front of the second pack, getting in front of Matty Raymond. We've got a car around, we've got a big spin behind, big accident.
Oh no, we've taken a few cars there. If that's as big as it's going to get, then that's the big one, but I don't think we've seen it yet, so we'll have to jump back and catch some replays there. But Dyson, I see, has been turned by Raymond Yeager, I believe it is. So a check up. Oh, not much Raymond Yeager to do there. He just sort of checked up in front of him. Well, Ruben Phelps has caught up on that. Our Polster has caught up now with Christian Koch. Worley, I think's in there. There's a few cars, 3 big names in that one. Riley Curtis down there just getting a side swap. So that's taking out 2 Mark 1 cars, a few DPR cars in there. That's the big one.
Yeah, that is a big one indeed. A lot of drivers caught up in that one. Edward Foster right in the midst of that one got smacked straight in the nose. And then a lot of the cars that were up high got really badly damaged. So quite a number of cars really getting caught out in that. Riley Curtis getting very unlucky. He almost avoided the crash, but then all of a sudden one of the DPR cars came flying down into him sideways, and that was that.
Yeah, definitely. He's right on board with Edward Foster, so he got caught up in it too. He's got nose-to-nose contact there with someone. There's a big contact on his right side. See Ruben Phelps riding that fence there. As we jump on board with Ruben as he sort of ends that right along the fence there. Yeah, we got cars on the track, down in the apron, in the grass. It's just torn up race cars everywhere.
Yeah, Raymond Yeager missing the whole of his nose at the moment. There are a few cars smoking. Ruben Phelps is trying to get ahead of Foster and trying to get ahead of a few people for the iRacing thing, but his engine is almost dead, so he can't really do much. So it's not much he can do to actually catch up to these guys because his engine is about to explode.
Yeah, definitely. Guys are getting a bit antsy out there trying to get these cars sorted out. Obviously, some cars heavily damaged, so here he comes now. He's on the inside. I can see him coming up on Edward there, but yeah, he's smoking, so he's almost done. But he's in the pit lane now, so Edward doesn't have to worry about him. All is go. Yeah,
and I don't think Foster could see that the car Ruben Phelps had basically no engine there, so not sure. It's
try and get it repaired as much as you can, I guess, and see if he can't get it back out there and just score some points now. As I said, he was the pole sitter, so effectively he had the fastest car out here tonight, that beautifully painted Mark 1 Esports car, and now she's just a smouldering mess down in pit lane.
Yeah, not much of a car left there after that, so that is going to be very tricky. And yeah, that's unfortunate for him. And I think there'll be a couple of iRacing penalties going out to a couple of those drivers just because of iRacing and how it works sometimes, unfortunately. But we'll see how that shakes itself down a little bit later on. Meanwhile, the front runners all stayed out. We've seen a couple of people creep into pit lane. Stephen Williams creeped into pit lane. So not many people taking the option to stop. I think they're all pretty much absolutely happy now for the rest of this race to go on fuel, as we only have 18 laps remaining.
Yeah, it's getting down to business time, mate. So I'm just looking at Raymond Yeager just trundling around here. He's got the I don't know what I'm looking for the word there, but he's got nothing on the front of it at the moment. He's got the unaerodynamic car with the best cooling out there at the moment.
Yeah, he's missing his boot and his bonnet as well. So he's running the extremely light version of the car, the ultralight version of the car.
It's modified, but it's worse than a modified. So
yeah.
Comes that engine.
Extremely modified version of the car with very few panels left on it. But we get a good look at the engine and the suspension, of course, of the car. So basically, it's flashing us, really. That's what you got to say. It's showing off all its insides. But up at the front, Jason Martin, this has worked out quite well for him. He's got Danny G behind him, Brian Richmond there in third, with Justin Witcher in fourth, Ryan Jones in fifth, Michael Skurlock sixth, seventh is Raymond Yeager, who's going to be coming into pit lane. So that would put Damon Stockton up to seventh. Eighth is Josh Micklemore, Matty Raymond in ninth, and Hamish Gallagher's going to be up there in the top 10 now.
Yeah, so as I said, we're coming down to the business end of this race, so we're going to stack them up here and let them loose again and see what brings. We've got two Mitch Management cars leading both trains, so you've got one on the outside, one on the inside. So it's interesting to see what happens here, whether Jason just a lazy start, lets the car down in front, or goes early. That way Denny G, I should say. Denny G can drop down behind him. That's what I would be doing if I'm Jason. I'd be counting down to my teammates saying 3, 2, 1, go. That way he jumps at the same time and he can just drop down straight in behind you.
Yeah, we've seen some good teamwork from Mitch Motorsport in the past. They are very good at their restarts. They've had quite a bit of practice in the past as well. Obviously, they're one of those teams that we see up at the top of the field quite often, and one of those teams that if you can beat, you're doing a great job. Just looking at the cars, it looks like Jason Martin is the only one out there of the Mitch cars that has pretty much a pristine car. Some damage to the back of Danny G's car, so there are a few battle-wounded cars out there tonight. Quite a few with some just minor scrapes here and there, scrapes and scratches. Keep on the lookout for Michael Skirlock. He's down there in 6th at the moment, so he's in a position that can come to pay off, so he's not out of it yet whatsoever. So it's going to be a fascinating 17 laps here at Talladega for the ANZCAR Cup, and we have to make a big shout out as well to our sponsor AJ Insurance Company, so big shout out to them as always. Thank you very much for being able to keep FGM eCast on the streams and keeping us going, keeping the streams alive and everything like that. So big thank you to the sponsors, and always a big thank you to all of to everybody watching as well. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to keep this going. Jason Martin's leading away now. The green will be coming shortly. When's he going to drop the pedal? We're soon going to find out. He's backing him up, backing him up, backing him up. Puts the loud pedal down, makes a good restart there with his teammate.
You should see the 24 hopefully drop down behind him, I'd imagine, but good little early jump from the 21. He can't change lanes until after, so he would have called that on his radio, so that they both get the same sort of jump, and perfectly executed.
Yeah, the one that got caught out there was Justin Witcher. He did not manage to make that lane change quite as quickly as he would have wanted. Sorry about that. Just elbow my microphone. That's not a good thing to do. But yeah, of course, you have to wait until you cross that start-finish line before you change lanes. Of course, that is a rule for ANZCAR, and a big no-no if you do. Meanwhile, we've got some very close racing as I was just looking back. Josh Micklemore just getting past his teammate of Hamish Gallagher, just under the yellow line there almost.
Yeah, I was just looking back there, a bit scattered. They had a bit of a run. Damon Stockton took it. Damon Stockton, I've never seen him not take a run. He's trying to get down there. He's almost caused a wreck there, but Damon will go for any gap at all available. And yeah, he's on the outside on his own at the moment, so he's going to need some teammates to come down and help him. But yeah, sort of just scattered up a bit as Hamish gets down there. It's not clear. And yeah, it's still stuck on the outside. So
as they make contact, they managed to keep it. They managed to keep it in straight line, but that has broken a little bit of the toe there for those guys.
Well, there's some hotheads out there. Those boys are in that little pack there. There's a bit of to and fro going on as Damon Stockton drops down finally to the bottom line. But as you see, once you get stuck out there, it's hard to get back in. And at this point of the race, no one's going to cut you a break. No one's going to let you in unless they're a teammate. And unfortunately, that's just the way it goes here at Talladega.
Yeah, that's it. It's not just the cars that get hot around here, of course. Drivers start to boil up with a bit of temperature as well. Neil Pearson heading up to the outside now, and that's going to give Josh Micklemore the chance to get a run underneath him, and Pearson's going to drop right to the back of this train, I'd say. He's sort of a bit of a lone warrior out there, and that's not going to help him out.
Someone jumps up. Matt Hunter looks like he's jumped up. He's going to help out. A couple more guys jump out from behind the line. They're just trying to make something happen because they're at the back. Lachlan Lerky, I can see back there, and another Barley car right at the back there. So they've got nothing to lose. They might as well jump out there and have a crack. They've got to try and make something happen here.
Yeah, that's it. I think it might be Greg Spencer out there, but he's dropped down to that lower line. So yeah, Matt Hunter and Lachlan Oakio right behind Neil Pearson at the moment, trying to make that high line happen. But of course, if nobody else is wanting to play with you, it can make it very, very tricky. And there are a few cars up in that top 10, top 15 area that have quite a bit of damage to them as well. So they can't really jump out there and do much on that top line. They've just got to sit in line and in formation to really keep themselves going.
Yeah, that's right. And you've got to remember that the only way those lines, that outside line started happening was from the Mitch cars. So they were all on the same team. They were all on the same comms, communicating it and making that work. So those guys back there, they weren't teammates at all. None of them were teammates. They were all just jumping up there and having a dig for what it's worth. But yeah, there's going to be some teamwork have to happen to make that outside line work.
Yeah, they're just trying to make it work, and it is very hard when you're working with people that aren't your teammates, of course, because you've got to broadcast it across the general chat radios. You can't do anything else, and you sort of let everybody else know what you're up to. You don't really have great communications with them. So, and the other thing as well is you don't have that teamwork with them as well. You know, sort of things like, obviously bump drafting, things like that takes a lot of experience to get used to, but just running in a draft and running so close to each other, when it is a teammate, you feel a lot more comfortable and a lot more confident as well. And that's something we were talking about earlier, is confidence in the car, and it makes a huge difference. Ryan Jones having a good run up there in fourth at the moment. He's made 21 positions so far this race. He's up in 24th. He's up in fourth, starting from 25th. There we go, I'll get it out eventually. But the big gainers at the moment is Jason Martin and Danny G. 20 positions for Jason Martin, 25 for Danny G.
Yeah, tell you who else is doing a great job at tonight. Actually, he's made a lot of the correct moves so far during this race. It's Brian Richmond in 47. He's made a fair few moves. He's been at the front, he's been to the back, he's been to the front. So he's made the right calls, right moves. As we see the 83 leading a line on the outside, trying to make something happen again on this outside line. Ryan Jones takes it up, so he's going to jump out there. So that will stall it out for a bit, but they will gain momentum from that as Denny G looks to go out there now to try and stall that line out. As you can see, the Mitch Motorsport car, so you can work that line. So Messerman will probably come down in front of the 47 here.
No, they're trying. You know, the Mitch Motorsport cars jumped onto that outside line because they could see Ryan Jones. They could see what he was up to, and this has put Brian Richmond on that low line with Michael Skurlock right behind him at the moment. As we've got 11 laps remaining here at Talladega, we are getting to the short and curlies of this race. It is getting very close, very tight out here now, and this actually is just going to get harder and hotter.
Yeah, so those two guys got that line going, was Matt Hunter and Matty Raymond. They did a great job to get that going, as the 47 is now underneath the 21 here, so he needs a good push from those guys on the bottom there to try and get the lead back. As you can see, 24 Denny G getting really loose with the triple one Ryan Jones right at the back of him, really loose going into turn 3 there.
Yeah, and this is going to give them a chance on that low line to get a good run, and they are indeed getting a good run right now. Brian Richmond taking the lead. Jason Martin just trying to slip down into the low line, can't quite make it work. Danny G does though. They've managed to get into that low line, but they've lost a couple of positions. They're just behind Justin Witcher at the moment. So they've dropped down to 4th and 5th position at the moment, but they've managed to link up with Josh Micklemore. So they have got all three of their cars together now, and I think Hamish Gallagher is right behind Micklemore as well. Yes, he is. So they have got a Mitch Motorsport 4-car Mitch Motorsport train ready to go, but they just need to get that outside line clear for them and get all their cars outside there working. Ryan Jones at the moment is the fly in the ointment that's not letting them do that.
Yeah, it's coming down to 10 to go here. It's time to go. It's race time. You got to make these moves happen now. You got to go now. So these guys, that's what they're trying to do. So you see Jason Martin just trying to jump up there and see if he can't make a run on the outside. He's going to have to drag triple one of Ryan Jones with him, but we saw the push from Ryan Jones in the back of that 24. Danny G actually loosened him up, so that cost them time on the outside line as Jason Martin drops down to the bottom now and loses that bit of momentum there.
It drops down in front of Josh Micklemore though, so he's in front of a teammate, so he's still got teammates around him. Importantly, Hamish Gallagher just behind Micklemore too, so it's going to be fascinating. This one's going to be great, and there is Michael Skurlock right there in 2nd place at the moment, and Justin Witcher behind him as well. So Skurley's right up there ready to go, just in case anything happens, and they go past. I think that was Riley Curtis there, just dropping down to the inside as they went past, just not wanting to get involved in any of this fast and furious racing for the lead of the Talladega race here for the ANZCAR Cup.
We're going to cross the stripe here with 8 to go, and Brian Richmond's leading this thing with eight laps to go. He's doing a great job. As I said, he's made all the right moves tonight. He's got himself in the position to win this thing tonight. Let's hopefully he can hold on, and we'll see if we've got any other challenges who are going to jump up and try and make something happen here.
If you were sitting in this position right now, Dave, would you rather be 1st or 2nd?
I'll be the leader, mate. I'll take 1st in this package any day.
Yeah, that's the big thing with those package changes. You know, it used to be that 2nd place would have an advantage. You can see Skurlock getting a good run there, but he's just not going to get past Brian Richmond yet. He can't afford to make that move too soon. He needs to get it absolutely timed perfect if he's going to try and get this one to win.
You can see now that there's a pack that they've broken away. So there's only a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 car pack about now single file, and there's a 2 wide pack off the back of there. They're going to drop off this pack now. The single file is much faster. Those guys are stalling each other out there, as you can see on your screen now. So yeah, at the moment, Skurlock's just got to ride in behind the 47 here. He can't make the move. He needs to make it on the last lap if he's going to do it on his own. You can use that side draft and drag the 47 back, but it comes with the risk of not making yourself, well, not getting clear. And if you get shut out, then you go to the back of this little line.
Yeah, as we've got 6.5 laps to go, it's getting very close up here. At the moment, Ryan Jones has dropped down to that second group, and he's leading in front of Foster and Adam Rosell. So that bottom line, they've got to try and work their way back up to the front here, but they have lost a lot of time, a lot of position to this for this race, as there's only 6 laps left of the Talladega round here tonight. Fuel-wise, they should be all fine, other than Justin Witcher. Justin Witcher might be in trouble. He's the only car out there. He's done quite a few laps, but with those cautions, he might be okay. But I've got a feeling Justin Witcher may just be the one that doesn't make it on fuel tonight.
Yeah, it's getting tense. These guys up front in this front pack, they're all within a shot to win this at the moment. So they'll be starting to clench down to the teeth, starting to get a bit of white knuckle happening, and the nerves will set in. It's surprisingly towards the end of the race, it's the most nervous part, because you know you can lose it or win it at any point now.
Yeah, the adrenaline kicks in, doesn't it? And all of a sudden, it's not always a great feeling having the adrenaline kick in, because you sort of go, oh God, what's going to happen, or what's going to happen? You sort of have to just keep focused on the race.
I've been in that position. It's not nice. You just want the race to end. So we're coming up now. We're going to be working with 5 laps to go, sorry, this time by.
Yeah, I've only had 1 win in iRacing. Well, no, 2 wins in iRacing. Sorry, but the win that I sort of earned, I must say, I wish that race had ended about 4 laps earlier than it did. It was a very, very scary situation to be in. But right at the front right now, Skurlock is looking a bit racy behind Brian Richmond. He's really trying to hustle him along and trying to force him.
First one out, he's just at the back there. He jumped up. He's just going to try and make something happen. Sorry to cut over there. So these guys, they've got to try and make something back there. It's Skurlock at the moment.
Skurlock just getting a bit loose there. He just got a bit loose through the mid-corner. That car just got a little bit slippery, and that's given the Brian Richmond a little bit of a chance to break away. But that's going to give Skurlock the hope. Well, he's going to hope the chance to get a good run up on Brian Richmond. So he's going to try it as there are only
4 laps.
4 laps to go. Yeah, we are getting very close to this one.
Yeah, it's money time now. Skurlock gets down to that apron. He doesn't want to do that too often. He'll lose a bit of momentum there. But right now, Skurlock's in the box seat to make the easiest move. So he wants to try and be patient here. But you can see Justin Witcher just moved up there, seeing if the Mitch Motorsports cars would go with him. But they didn't move at all. So he's jumped back down a little bit. But yeah, Skurlock right now just got to bide his time, because there's not much he can do on his own.
Yeah, and the big question is, of course, is Justin Witcher, will he make it on fuel? Because he's done around about 6-7 laps more than the guys out around him. He's done 37 laps on this stint now, so he is quite close to fuel, I would say. And if he runs out of fuel on that last lap in 3rd place, that could drop off those Mitch cars as well. So we've got some exciting stuff still to come, as we've got 3 laps remaining.
3 laps to go here. So if Skurlock does jump out and Witcher goes with him, those guys will freight train the 47, or if the 10 stays down and pushes the 47. So the fate really stands at the moment if Skurlock goes is in the 10. So whichever the car the 10 goes with, that car's going to have the best advantage coming up to 2 laps to go here. We're going to work 3 and 4. We're going to have 2 laps to go after the stripe this time by.
Yeah, it is getting super tense right now at the front, as as we come up to the finish line, start-finish line once more, and that's going to be 2 laps to go now. We are getting so close to this one. That white flag is going to be getting ready to be waved very shortly. Skurlock is just sitting there, and he's trying to think about how he's going to do this. You can tell in the body language of that car, he's trying to figure out the way to get around Brian Richmond at the moment.
And what I would be doing, I'll be backing that pack up. If I'm Skurlock, I'm backing the pack up behind me, getting Ryan Richmond out there as a bit further out, so that way you can get the good run on him, and then you take that momentum and go around him. So that's what he's going to have to do. Like I said, the fate remains in the car that basically turns up behind him. So you go the Mitch cars. So they're going to make that move now. That's it.
Mitch Motorsport making their move now. Those cars, 4 cars in there, but they can't quite do it this time. They're jumping back behind Justin Witcher at the moment. It's getting so tense as the white flag is going to come out this time round. Is it? Where am I?
Yeah, white flag this time while we're about to hit the stripe now. So we go across the start-finish line. Next flag ends this race. So either way, we're going to have a winner. So here, Jason Martin makes a move on the outside of the 10. He sort of half blocks it. That breaks them up. That slows them down. So Skurlock's got the momentum now. The cars on the outside, the Mitch Motorsport cars, have broken up a bit as well. So I don't know how it's going to end. The 47's got a good run out front at the moment.
Yeah, the 47's got a great run at the moment. Brian Richmond is really getting a great run. Skurlock's starting to get that run, though. He really needs to make this work. If he can make this work right now, he can get this. He needs the 47 to make a mistake. He's trying his best to get the slipstream, get the draft working. He's going to try it. He can't quite get it working yet. He jumps to the outside. Here we go. Skurlock on the outside. Richmond on the inside. It's going to be close. Skurlock makes the move. He makes the pass, and he's going to get in front here at Talladega. And this is going to be Skurlock taking out the victory.
Skurlock, the 350, baby. He gets the win. I called it early in the race. I'm going to take that. The 350 of Michael Skurlock gets the win here. I don't know how much money you owe me, but it's probably nothing. But unfortunate for Brian Richmond, he did everything right. There's nothing he could do. All he could do was sort of watch. He could have blocked a little bit more, but risked getting wrecked. So that's a great finish for him in third, though. And Justin Witch, a great finish. Managed to stay on the track with the fuel and finish P2. So great job by those top guys up there.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant job. Skurlock just waiting for that last minute there. He could not have waited any longer or waited any later for that. But Skurlock taking out his second Super Speedway win of the year, of course. Taking out that brilliant victory at Daytona. Taking out another win here at Talladega. He's just got one more to go to take the prize, the Grand Slam for the Super Speedways. And he's looking good for it at the moment. What an absolute brilliant victory for Skurly.
Absolutely. So he had to be patient. He had to wait till the last lap to make that move because that side draft is a massive effect here now, and that's exactly what he did. Got onto that left rear or right rear quarter with his left-hand front, dragged that 47 backwards, and as I said, the 10 went with the 350, and that was all he needed. That was done and dusted early on there.
And Brian Richmond just very happy to finish, but I would say it should be more than just happy to finish. He finished in the top 3 here at Talladega. Justin Witcher just catching him at the end, though. But top 3 finish here at Talladega. That block the number 10 put on the outside line stopped those Mitch cars from taking that victory. Saved Skurlock there for sure and helped him out. But Skurlock just driving a pretty quiet race all in all. He just sat there. He was there or thereabouts all race, but we said watch out for him.
Yeah, that's it. I called him to win it, so as I said, I'll take credit for that. But as he burns it down there on the grass, so he's going to enjoy this one. He's very keen on making this to winning this sim rig and getting these 3 big wins here. So he has made it quite clear that he wants to win it. He's out there. He's hungry.
Yeah, and a hungry Skurlock is a very scary thing for the rest of the competitors because Skurlock on his not best days is still probably faster than most people on their best. He is an incredibly good driver and an absolute machine, and it shows in the championship standings before we started the race. He was sitting there in P3, just 54 points behind the leader, Josh Micklemore, with Neil Pearson there in the middle of in second place, 53 points behind the leader. So this is going to help Skurlock for the regular stage of the championship season as well. This is going to be a nice big boost for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm surprised that those Mitch cars didn't get going, but they did have another couple of cars sort of trying to go with them and sort of marked them a little bit there towards the end. But because those guys are out there, they're trying to win too, so they're going to do whatever they can to get to the front. And if it means jumping on with the Mitch guys, just stalled them out a bit and didn't have the run at the end. But yeah, Skurlock tonight done everything right.
Absolutely. Let's run through the finishing order. So race winner Michael Skurlock for the Crank Esports team, Justin Witcher there in second. For the Activity Hub Bali team, Brian Richmond in third place. Great finish, Brian Richmond. Not had many races this season. A brilliant qualifying from him to qualify second and finish race first. Matty Raymond there in fourth place with Danny G in fifth, the first of the Mitch Motorsport cars. Sixth place, we have Josh Micklemore with Hamish Gallagher seventh. Jason Martin finished eighth in the end, with Ryan Jones finishing in ninth. Edward Foster managed to finish in 10th at the end, managing to gain 20 positions in that race. Almost the biggest gainer of the race, but that does go to Danny G in 5th place. He gained 22 positions at the end of the day. Greg Spencer finished 11th with Adam Rosell in 12th. 13th was Lachlan Urquio with Phil Otto 14th. 15th was Perry Anastakis with Matt Hunter 16th. 17th for Neil Pearson with Stephen Williams in 18th. 19th, we have Mirko Jordanak with Scott Griffiths in 20th. 21st, Luke Traher with Andrew Dyson 22nd. And those are the last cars on the lead lap. Damon Stockton ended up a lap down in 23rd, with Joshua Carroll Walden 24th, 25th for Reese May, Riley Curtis 26th, 27th for Raymond Yeager. Tristan Koch was out, unfortunately, and finished down in 28th. I think he actually finished, but he was 12 laps down. 15 laps down from Ruben Phelps, unfortunately. A great pole position, but did not go his way when he got caught up in that accident. And Philip Worley down there in 30th, the final of the cars.
So that was race 200 for Skurlock, I believe, this weekend, and he's got the W.
We sure? I thought his 200th race was at Bristol on the dirt.
Actually, you might be right.
Yes. Team announcement. Okay, so that's okay. Team announcement. But yeah, Skurlock 200 drives in the ANZCAR Championship and taking a win on it. What an absolute brilliant win for him. As we say, another super speedway win for him. And if absolutely on his 200th, that is a absolute blinder as well. So you can't celebrate that more than taking out a victory, can you?
No, exactly right. So he's going to be pumped for that. We'll might as well get these boys down here and get them in the booth and have a chat to them.
So we'll start off a little bit in reverse than we normally do. We're going to start off with the winner of that race, one Mr. Michael Skurlock.
Get him in there early, mate. That's right. Get my excitement out.
Oh,
I was excited that time. That was good.
I couldn't wait to talk to you there, Scully.
Oh, mate, I didn't expect, there's no sort of, it's really weird how these cars are now. It's not how you remember it. And there was no sort of, you couldn't really get a run on anyone the whole race. Like, I don't know how that one at the end worked. Like, I'm going to say, I don't think he did, but it almost like he backed off to let me pass him. But it was weird how I got speed there.
That side draft is a killer here tonight. But, great win, mate. You had to be patient and pick your moment, because if you did go too early, you risk end up going out the back of that pack.
Oh, yeah, man, I know. It was. I was sort of happy to sit there, and then I was thinking, no, come on, this special surprise thing if you win 3 of them, whatever it is. I was like, I got to try something. And like Aiden, he didn't make the main event because I don't know. I think whatever mathematicians are fucking sorting that out. Might have got the sum wrong or something. But yeah, like he was spotting hard, man. He was doing a good job there at the end. He was telling me everything that was going on, all the people around me that were willing to sort of work and who weren't. And it sort of, I just sort of sat there and just went, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna just play it safe. And then I just went, no, all right, here we go. This might be a chance here, and it kind of worked, man. This is Dave's kind of thing, mate. The super speedways, I don't like them. So if I can win this is like a fish out of water, man. I
backed you in, mate. I backed you on lap 15 to win this thing, mate, or lap 16 or something like that. And yeah, I thought you had to be patient to make that move, and you did it perfectly, mate. Executed well done. And as I said, the 10 sort of helped you out there. He went with you too, so a bit of credit goes to him as well. But yeah, great win tonight, Scully, mate.
Yeah, cheers, boys. Thank you.
Yeah, and you hit the milestone of 200 starts in ANZCAR back at Bristol at the dirt circuit, of course, and you had a relatively good finish there, but you must be happy with the second super speedway win, of course. You still 200 odd races you've done, and you're still an absolute contender. Is there any way of stopping you, Skurley?
Well, I hope not. I hope I'm not at the age yet where I fall off the more races I do. I like to think that I'm on the way up, so give me 500 races and I should be, I probably won't be anywhere. It'll be the same fucking place. I mean,
we need to get the old beeper up here for Scully tonight.
Oops. That was Mirko. Come in.
Get away with it.
Mirko popped his head in. Hopefully I'm on the way up, you know what I mean? I don't like to think of myself as an old retired vet or nothing like that. 200 races, yes. That's not that many. So onward and upward.
That's it. You're still a young gun in NASCAR, of course. They race until they're in their 70s, so you've got a couple of years left in you yet, Scully.
Yeah, that's right, mate. That's right.
Of course, second Super Speedway win of the year, and as we said, there is that grand prize of I think it's the Simrigs Simrigs rig for the taking out the free. Obviously, you're one step closer to that, so you must be pretty happy with that sort of those good runs this year and getting those super speedway wins and getting one step closer to that little extra prize.
One step closer to the edge. Who's going to finish it? Yeah. No. Yeah, exactly. Like tonight that's a bonus, man, to win this. Like, because it basically is like going gambling, you know. Like you can't say you're going to win a super speedway race. It's impossible. You don't know what's going to happen. And apparently, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. But lucky I qualified and just sat there. The car's really weird now. You can't just go everywhere you want to like you used to be able to. It's you sort of just got to sit there and just deal with it. So I was just having a good time, mate, just chatting away on the stream, saying some ridiculous things. Sker Lurkin on Twitch, by the way. Little plug.
Yeah, good.
I need to get more than 30 people on there. Yeah, just having a good time, man, with the boys, and then just sort of comes out good at the end. The last 15, 20 laps, Aiden was right on me, telling me what to do, and I was locked in, so stoked, mate.
Congratulations on that win, Scully. Absolutely brilliant. And of course, the usual things of before we let you go, usual things of shout outs and love towards sponsors and whatever you want to do.
Yeah, mate, the usual. Crank Esports. Yeah, the other boys had a bit of a rough one again tonight. But like I said last week, it doesn't matter, mate. You get that W. That's all that matters. And
two
in a row.
Absolutely.
I'm happy they're all depressed, but it doesn't matter. No, I'm a team orientated guy, really. But you know what I mean. It does suck that they didn't do well, but they're happy for me, and I like that they're happy for me. iRace Designs, and actually Aiden tonight for doing the paints for us. He whipped that up like last night, and he did a good job. I reckon. I really like what they turned out like. And I'm going to plug one different one is Locked On iRacing podcast. Chris, I went on there a couple of weeks ago and did an interview, and like there's about 10 minutes there where they were talking about me. And I tell you what, I couldn't get out my room for 5 days because my head was too big to fit through the door, so I had to wait for it to shrink to get out. Like, nicest things anyone's ever said about me, so I'm gonna have to plug them from now on. Yeah, and you boys for putting on the show, of course.
Yeah, I'm sure you wouldn't have wanted Chris to tell the story about the endurance race where the singing ended up costing the race, but
yeah, the rock set, mate, the rock set incident, we call that.
No, right. Thank you so much, Scully. An absolute pleasure, and I'm sure I'll see you in the booth relatively soon.
Thanks, boys. Thank you.
Next up, we will grab second place finisher Justin Witcher. Congratulations on that P2. What an absolute mad finish there for yourself, but a brilliant one.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
So through that race, obviously, it wasn't the easiest of races. It never is here at Talladega. Did you just see your opportunity just come across the line there? Because you got very close. You almost got very close to Skurlock as well. But side by side with yourself and Brian Richmond, you just had that really good run out of the corner on that last lap. Was that sort of something you were planning all the way through that last lap, or were you just hoping to sort of finish in the top five?
Yeah, well, top five was ideal for me with the results that I've had. But yeah, 2 or 3 laps prior, I was a bit worried about the Mitch guys because they lined up behind me. So I was in 2 minds whether to stay or try and jump onto those guys. I think coming into the last lap, they tried coming around the outside and sort of broke it up a little bit, come back down, then down that back straight. I thought, well, if Skirley goes, I'm just going to follow because that'll be 1 position gained. You know, us 2 versus Brian. So
yeah, it got super close towards the end there, of course. But yeah, a good strong finish, and got to say, absolutely loved the livery on the team's cars tonight. It looked like you had some strong running out there as a team as well. You had quite a few cars in the pack tonight. Yeah,
we did. Greg did really well to qualify. He wasn't in the top 20. Me and Raymond were. And yeah, there's a few of the other guys who just missed out, but they play their part, as Skilly was saying with Aiden. they were on the radio just telling us what was going on and what was behind and where people are at. So
No, it's good to see, and it's a good result for the team as well. Of course, obviously it's been a tough couple of races with the short track ovals. We've had a couple of tough moments through there, of course, which brought around some of the changes. But fair few less cautions tonight. Obviously, Talladega is one of those places where cautions can always happen because super speedways are a bit of a dice roll sometimes. But did you feel it was a little bit less chaotic out there tonight?
Yeah, I didn't actually get to do the short tracks. Both, the Bristol Dirt one I missed out because of the regs on dirt racing, and Martinsville I was away, so I didn't get to see how they panned out. But yeah, I think with the new model and all that, I felt we had a race the other night and it was a bit more tame. But yeah, obviously, with the movement and everything, people can muck it up. So yeah, I think it was, for me, it was 50-50. I was happy just to sit and see what happens and not try and make too many moves.
How are your nerves there with 5 to go, Justin? Are they right up there, man, or what? Blood pumping?
Yeah, no, I was definitely sweating up a storm. Start of winter down in Victoria is usually pretty hard to do, but I seem to be able to do it. So yeah, like I said, 5 laps to go, I was sort of really toying with what to do with the Mitch guys behind me because I knew they were going to try something with 4 of them. So I was either going to bin it or, sort of filter back to maybe 7th or 8th, but turned out well.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear, mate. Either win it, bring back the steering wheel, mate.
That's it.
No, congratulations on that finish, and I think that's, from my record, your first top 2 finish in the ANZCAR series at least, and possibly first top 5 finish as well.
Yeah, no, this is my first year, so yeah, it was really good to, sort of been, I don't know, around 15th, 20th with other, being involved in some accidents and that. But yeah, really good to get top 5 to begin with, and then a podium's really good.
No, congratulations, Justin. And of course, before we let you go, the usual things of shout outs and love to your sponsors.
Yeah, just the boys at Activity Hub Barley Racing. They've, brought me into the team and put me under their wing. So that's Activity Hub Barley, and Michael Shaw, and you guys for putting on the cast.
As always, you're more than welcome, and congratulations on the first time up here in the booth and first time up in the top 3 for the ANZCAR series. Justin Witcher there for the Activity Hub Barley team.
Thanks, guys.
And unfortunately, it doesn't look like we have Brian Richmond around at the moment. So I'm just keeping an eye because I did send a message, but unfortunately it looks like we may not be able to get a hold of him tonight to talk through that 3rd place finish, sadly for him. So that is a little bit of a shame. But congratulations for him on that P3 finish here at Talladega. Dave, what a race.
Yeah, it certainly was, mate. Some big results there. So obviously a big win for the 350 of Michael Skirlock. 2 in a row now and back on the Super Speedway. And then some big results for Justin Witcher and Brian Richmond. So those guys can go to sleep tonight and be happy with their efforts tonight because it's always good seeing some new guys up there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As we say many times, we love seeing it when some of the newer guys to the series manage to get those good finishes. It is always encouraging to see, and got to say, encouraging night tonight as well. Good racing out there. We saw a few very sketchy moments, but a few really good saves as well, which is always good to see. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it was a better race than I thought it was going to be with this new package. The guys sort of learnt towards the end how to start the race with it, and they made something happen and made a good race of it towards the end there.
Of course, we are off to somewhere completely different next time out. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. We're off to Kansas Motor Speedway next time out. Going to be a very different race for sure.
Yeah, hopefully Dorothy and the Wicked Witch of the West ain't there. But yeah, Kansas, it's It's traditionally a high line racetrack, but I believe that it is changing. Just the way that iRacing is updating with the track and whatnot. I believe it's going to be multi-groove racing again there. So I'm looking forward to that one. It's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting for sure. Looking forward to that one coming through. Of course, that will be next Thursday, the 28th of April. And of course, as usual, we have upcoming events here on FGM eCast. We have the truck race coming up, and that is the final race of the season, and that's at Nashville Fairgrounds on the 26th of April. Nashville Fairgrounds, of course, going to be a very different race, and all things going right, I might not actually be in the commentary booth with that one, so that could be exciting or terrifying, depending on which side of the which side of the area you're on, if you're on track or not. And then, of course, we have the Oz Pro Am Series off to Silverstone next Tuesday. That will be broadcast at 7:45 p.m. Here on FGM eCast, the endurance racing GT3s at Silverstone. So going to be exciting to have that race, and that will be the twin race usual feature that we have, 20-minute short race and 40-minute long race, of course. So good bit of endurance racing and GT racing coming from there. And then, as I said before, Kansas for the Cup Series. So we wish you all the best. And again, a big thank you to all of the veterans out there, especially to all of the ANZAC veterans that we have and anyone serving currently doing the good deed out there. And from myself, from Dave Douglas, and of course Stuart Brown up in the area doing all the cameras, we wish you all a good night, and we'll see you again next time. Bye bye.